Hey everyone, this is Sissy, and this video is about my day 2 experience with ayahuasca. The ceremony started as usual, that I had my first cup, I fell asleep, and then I had my second cup, third cup, nothing happened. So I walked to the shaman and asked for the fourth cup. And by then the shaman said they have stopped giving out ayahuasca because it's been too late. I went back to my bed, I lay down. I just have this weird feeling because I knew the medicine was in me and it was very strong. I could hear my stomach grinding. I can feel it as if something's moving. But how come I'm not purging? I saw people dancing around me. I hear people laughing, crying. Some other people were purging, but I could not feel a thing. And there was a sense of worrying growing inside of me. So eventually I wrote my hand, asked for help from a shaman. Shaman Sarah came to me. She kneeled down next to my bed and she asked me, "What's up?" I said, I could not feel a thing. I wanted to purge, but I can't. What is holding up? What are you feeling? In my head, I was like, I was not feeling anything. If I have to articulate any thought, it would be, I feel stupid. So what was the first time you felt this way? Who made you felt that way? Was that your parents? Your childhood? Your school? Your teacher? When I heard she said, your teacher, I knew it was a yes. And I couldn't talk, so I nodded my head. And all of a sudden, I started screaming. I was screaming in a really deep voice. Like I've never heard myself scream like that before. Like, and I start rolling on my pillow left and right. Sisters, see the light in the darkness. And I was thinking, yes, she was right. Do you want to go outside? In my head, I was like, that's weird, because before the ceremony, they told everybody that they want us to stay in the ceremony space because they are protecting that space and try not to spend too much time outside. But I was like, anything helps and I can use some fresh air. So she held me up. We walk outside, step onto the ground. This whole way I hold on to her so tight because I was so afraid of letting go. As soon as we got outside, she and another shaman started working on me. They were sending their prayers, they were fanning me, and I just felt this urge that I have to fall down to the ground. From time to time, I know that the shaman were talking to me, guiding me, and sending me prayers, and it did make me feel better. However, I just couldn't help but rolling, yelling, crying. Sarah spent quite a long time with me. I really don't know how long, but eventually she was like, I'm gonna go inside and I'm gonna leave you with another shaman. And she left, and the other shaman introduced her as Julie. Julie was so nice. She guided me. She was saying really kind word to me. And at some point, I saw her feet in front of me, and I reached out to her feet. As I touched her foot, I felt like I was connected to Mother Earth through her body. And I was feeling her feet, calf, and then I was grabbing onto her ankle so tight that eventually she had to leave too, and she told me that she will come back and check on me from time to time. It was weird because I felt like I was conscious, and my conscious had no idea what I was doing, why I was behaving that way, and yet I had no control of my body, so I was having an in-body, out-of-body experience. Once Julie left, I was just laying there. I could feel the dirt in my mouth, and I started spitting out the dirt left and right. I might have lost my conscience for a little bit and fall asleep, but then I woke up. All of a sudden, I just roll over and I saw this dark liquid flew out of my mouth. It happened so fast that I didn't have time, or I didn't even think about reach to the basket. After that, I start purge really hardly. I guess for a good 10-20 minutes, I was spitting a lot into the bucket, and I could feel that the thing that I was spinning up was the old deep emotion that had been buried deep in my body that I was letting go of. Even though I had this crazy reaction the whole night, I couldn't make sense of it because I didn't feel any physical pain. I know that I'm in a really good place. I remember at some point Sarah, the shaman, was telling me that your worst nightmare is somebody's best scenario, sister. You're in Costa Rica, you're in a retreat. Don't go there. Don't go to the dark place. But the thing is, my conscious was not in a dark place. I was not thinking of anything. I was not in control of my behavior. And I could not relate the purging or the behavior to any single event of my life. There's nothing. Mama Ayahuasca did not show me any image at all. It was just me behaving crazily. I don't know how long I was out there on the dirt, but I eventually fell asleep. And when I woke up, I saw the brightness in front of me. I was so curious that I had to find out what that was. I gather myself, I collect my strength, and start walking towards the light. As I stand in front of the light, I noticed that it was the moon. And then I realized my entire life I had never knew how bright the moon would have been. Because I grew up in a city in China, there were always street light. And just wherever I lived, there's always light overshining the brightness of the moon. I look back to the place that I was at earlier. I realized that someone at some point left a pillow and a blanket next to where I was. That was so kind. So I collect my items and move the blanket under the moonlight and lay down. Oh, I was staring at the moon, and was it beautiful? It was so bright, and I felt like it was communicating to me. I did not know what she was saying, but I could feel that she knows me. She knows me really well, and she knows every single detail in my life. And not only me, she knows everybody ever lived on this planet. Everything. I just felt her power, and laying down in the moonlight, I felt like she was charging me. She was charging my energy. I felt like she was telling me something. I don't know what. But because she's so beautiful, I started staring contact with her. I stare into her brightness, and of course she won the game because she's so bright and she doesn't blink. As time passed by, I started hearing people talking inside the ceremony room, and I realized that the ceremony has ended and people were sharing. I could not hear what they were saying, but I could hear people laughing, crying, and I felt all these emotions with them. Except what I thought about was my own experience. When people were laughing, I was laughing for stories in my own life. And when people were crying, I was crying for things in my own life as well. Eventually, I had to walk back to the ceremony room and sit with everybody. As I was walking back to the ceremony, I realized a few things. First of all, I did not know what grounding was. I always heard about the word. I knew it was important, but I did not know what that meant. Growing up, my mom didn't like me to play with dirt because she thought dirtiness equals sickness. And just throughout my life, I always live and work in buildings that's up in the air. I have been floating all my life. That connection with the Mother Earth and the Moon Goddess was what my soul desperately craving for. And that night it happened. The second thing I realized is that I have become a person who was so disconnected with her own emotions. I have suppressed so much of my own emotions because I was fearful of the feeling of fear. I have been disconnected with my inner self, my Pisces moon, my subconscious, and as a result, I was disconnected with the spirits, or people may say God, the universe, the higher realm, the divine. I was just numbing myself through life and avoid feeling anything. And all that energy had been contained in my physical body. At that moment, I really appreciate the universe for being with me my entire life, protecting me, guiding me, and sending me love unconditionally, regardless of my ignorance. And I felt empowered because now I know that I'm with the universe. The universe and I are creating life together because the universe is everything. And the universe is with me, and I have everything I need. I decided I must trust the universe and allow things to happen in divine timing. So the next day, we had our sharing, the morning class. And after the class, several people came to me and they told me that they saw me the night before from afar, and they were sending me prayers and love. At the time, I was still processing the concept of strangers can love strangers. And it was really magical to experience that. In the following few days, I had a couple theories of what I was going through. Not that I made sense of what actually happened, but from sharing and talking to other people gave me some feedback. The first explanation was that I was releasing generational trauma. I wouldn't have known what my ancestors had gone through, but it had been given to me at birth. Sadhguru explained it. You know how we look is because how we ancestors look. If they can give us our physical look, they can also give us their emotional baggage as well. And then the second explanation is from Dr. Jeff, who is the on-site doctor at Rythmia. He talked about this concept called empath. Empath is the kind of people that absorb other people's feeling. What happened was, from an early age, they were trained or programmed to be sensitive to other people's emotion, to avoid danger, to keep themselves safe, and to avoid conflict. Because they absorb other people's emotion, they suppress their own emotion and disconnect with their own feelings. And I think that's one of the reasons why I couldn't make sense of all those strong emotion that I was expressing, because it might be other people's emotion or feeling that I have been holding in my body, that I didn't have a proper outlet and I didn't know how to process it properly before. Then that night it all came out like that. So that was it. That was my second day experience with ayahuasca. And let me know what you think. Any comment, like, subscribe, I will appreciate it. And I will see you next time.